Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Face in your face. Face in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled, meaning if you are not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you may need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Now, as you can see on the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is what to do. Specifically, I'm talking about how you plan to live your life after you have retired and actually left the workforce. And for many people, leaving the workforce permanently. Okay. And of course, it is, it is the desire of everyone who has worked for their lifetime to be able to retire and to enjoy their golden years. But sometimes there could be challenges, mainly because trying to keep yourself occupied. And actually, there are certain individuals who fear retiring because they have no idea how they're going to occupy their time. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to give you some suggestions of what you may want to do to occupy your time once you have retired. Okay. Now, before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, I have spoke about this before, but I will continue to speak about the fact that Spirit Airlines has ceased all operations, which means, in effect, multiple thousands of employees are now without employment. Not to mention hundreds of thousands of passengers who have to find alternate transportation in order to get to their destination or to return home. Um, it's been, I believe, at least a week since Spirit has shut down completely. And of course, there are many reasons why. I'm not going to speculate on the reason why. Right now, I'm going to talk about what's been no, the effect. You have thousands of individuals, whether it be uh, pilots, crew or co-pilots, whether that be flight personnel, whether it be ticket agents, whether it be people who clean the airplanes, who repair, keep the airplanes in good repair. Thousands of them now without employment. And as a person that actually gone through unemployment, being unemployed, that is a humbling experience. I mean, you go from getting going to work and earning a salary to now knowing that you have no employment, and for many of them, it is through no fault of their own. That could be a crippling experience. So now you have to think about things like trying to find work with other airlines. Of course, you have to think about filing for unemployment. You also have to think about how you're going to pay your bills. And of course, you also have to think about cutting expenses. Now, it is my understanding that some airlines are actually trying to hire some of these people, and it's a good, and I hope they do. I hope all of them that are trying to seek employment do find employment elsewhere. Of course, one thing I am concerned about is that I don't know what type of retirement options plans that they have for their employees, um, as far as pensions, as far as 401ks, and things of that nature. Because we all know for a fact that when the company goes down, those things can easily be disappear. So now you're talking about um, people who have retired and possibly lose their pensions. So this is this. So as you can see, there are many consequences to the fare, and of course, not to in any way to belittle the plight of those who have purchased airfare tickets and have to go and try to find alternate routes to get to their destinations. There is another issue as well, even which is more important. How thousands of individuals are going to feed their families? How are they able to find employment? And how are they going to survive? And these are the things that sometimes we take for granted, especially if you've been employed with one organization for multiple years. We're seeing many times where companies had laid off thousands of employees um, due to economic downturns and things of that nature. We have seen hundreds of employees who've been working for their employers for 20, 30 years, all of a sudden to be without employment. And that's truly a humbling experience. I would not wish that anyone. So it does further show you that those of us that they do have job security to value it and go out and do the best possible job of one can do. And with that being said, we're going to go to the next topic. Now, before I continue, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit the link and opine regarding the topic that we'll discuss, they may do so. Let me make this perfectly clear. If I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash any adult content, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down this stream. I know I say this in every live I do, but there is a reason why, because unfortunately there are those individuals that try to do similar things, like trying to post pornographic images and things of that nature, because that's basically how they get their jolly, so to speak. So, with that being said, um, many of us who are in our 50s or even in our 60s, we think more and more about how we're going to spend our golden years, how we're going to spend the years of retirement, and what things we can do. Well, first of all, there are several things that you can do to occupy your time. One of the things you can do is you can learn a hobby, okay? Whether it be cooking, whether it be painting, whether it be drawing. Um, you can also learn to speak another language, which will actually be, go and be very handy, particularly if you ever decide to travel overseas. Now, in many cities, and let me say many large cities, they have what's called senior citizen centers. Okay, these are centers where elderly people they gather, they engage in recreation activities. Sometimes they go on trips. They may have social functions. Many times they might break bread together. That is an excellent way to occupy your time. And also, it's an excellent way to meet new people and to fight loneliness. Because we all are, as we continue to age, more and more of our loved ones either pass away or they become distant, or we see less and less of them. So loneliness is a serious issue, particularly among the elderly. So getting involved in group activities can help fight loneliness. Um, Another thing you can do to occupy your time is, if you're the type of person that want to experience new things, you can always travel. Particularly if you're able to live within your means and you put away some money every year, you can travel, whether you travel domestically or internationally. There are many places that you can visit domestically. Depending what are your interests, depending on what you want to do. Okay. Now, of course, here in New York City, there are many activities to partake in. First of all, we have theater, we have cultural arts, we also have sports teams, um, like the Yankees and the Mets in the summertime. In the fall and winter, we have basketball with the New York Knicks and the New Jersey Nets. As far as football, as far as winter, there's always well, it's not exactly in New York, but you can go to watch the New York Giants play or the New York Jets play, and there's also hockey with the New York Rangers. So there are many things you can do in New York. Now there are some people, what they will do is they will get a part-time job. Not so much because they want to, they need the money, but it's a way to keep themselves active, and that's fine if that's what you wish to do. Now, in my case, once I do retire, um, I don't plan to work again. Okay, which for me, and I just say for me to get a part-time job, what have you, after retirement, that kind of, for me, that defeats the purpose of retiring. But just because I look at it in that side, doesn't mean that it's not an option for you. Okay, each one of us is different. Okay, and there are other ways that you can keep yourself busy uh, during your retirement. You can also attend classes at a school or university. Excellent way to keep yourself occupied. Now, there are also people who um, have the spirit of to volunteer. So you also have people that will volunteer their time um, in many ways. There are some people that are led um, to um, to be volunteers and visit patients in hospital. Hospital. That's something that I used to do with a group of other believers, where we would visit some of the patients. We would speak to them about about the Bible and things like that, and we will also have uh, services. Um, of course, some of them did not like our presence. Others did because, um, unfortunately, for some of the patients, we were the only visitors that they ever received, and I can just imagine someone in their 70s and 80s um, in a nursing home, and days go by or weeks go by without receiving a visitor other than the hospital staff. That could be truly sad and depressing when you think about it. Now, there are also other ways that you can volunteer your time. There are some people that actually what they'll do is they'll volunteer their time working at soup kitchens, feeding the poor and the homeless. Okay, which for some people, I mean, it gives them a motivation to get up every morning. Okay, the fact that you're helping feed people who are homeless, or maybe they may not be homeless, but maybe just lonely. And the fact of the matter is that you are providing not only nourishment to these people, but also human companionship. I mean, here in New York, we have individuals that deliver hot meals to elderly and disabled patients. Okay, so not only do they get a hot meal, but they get a visitor. And for some of them, that's the highlight of their day. That might be the highlight of their week. Now, I'm not saying we all should do this, but if you truly feel led, uh, you will you'll be amazed the amount of good that you can do to a person, particularly a person that lives alone. Now, as I stated a couple of minutes ago, another way that you can um, spend your time traveling. Okay, so maybe traveling domestically may not be something that you're looking into, but you may want to travel internationally. Okay, there are many places to visit, and in each city has its own unique um, situation, things that make it unique, whether it be its theater, its restaurants, or the people. What I would suggest is that if you do tend to travel, whether it be domestically or internationally, uh, be mindful of your surroundings. Um, Also, try to blend in as much as humanly possible. Okay. So what I do suggest, if you do plan to travel, particularly if you plan to travel internationally, try to become familiar with the customs of the country that you're going to visit or the city that you're going to visit. Okay. And if it's possible, try to learn at least some words. Um, you'll be surprised the amount of goodwill that you will create simply saying a few words in the native tongue, even if you mispronounce them. Okay, I mean, that will impress them because you actually took the time and effort to learn their language, even if you mangled. Unfortunately, the problem with some people is that they don't value bother to try to learn the customs, and then when they go to whatever city abroad that they visit, they complain because things are not like here in the United States. One thing we have to bear in mind, okay, we are visitors in the native land. So we should try to blend in as much as possible. We should try to learn the culture. Now, years ago, before I visited Colombia, what I did was, first of all, I watched several videos regarding Colombia, regarding the people, what to do and what not to do. I also asked questions of people that came from Colombia, as far as how to make a good impression, uh, how to value my time over there, how to value the people that I would interact with, and to be mindful that it's a different environment altogether. Here in the United States, particularly in many of the cities, it's a rush environment, and it's instant and everything. In many countries and many cities, that is not the case. So we have to be mindful uh, of the customs of the land that we go to visit. And we also have to be mindful of the fact that not everyone values time the same way. And of course, whatever you do not try to pick a fight with the people um, that you're visiting. That never ends well. And that's what I did. Before I went to Colombia, I tried to learn as much as I can, either watching videos or asking questions, and also being mindful that even though we spoke the same language, that certain words have different meanings. So to be mindful of that. And I had a wonderful time. Also, when you retire, it's a good opportunity um, to visit family and friends that you haven't seen in a long time. Okay, and to be honest, when you're out there in in the work, world of work, um, it could be difficult trying to find time to be with family and friends and things of that nature. So the fact that once you're retired, you have plenty of time to visit family. You have plenty of time to visit friends. You can also try to reconnect with those that you haven't seen in a long time. So for those who are just tuning in, the topic for tonight is what to do. So this is questions pertaining to what to do once you're retired. Okay, which brings up a very important point. No one can really tell you when to retire. It's a decision that you have to make. And of course, there are many things that's going to take into consideration. One of them is your health. And when I mean health, I'm not just speaking my your physical health. I'm also thinking about your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health. Because one thing I've said before, if you really want to be healthy, you need to be healthy in all four elements, which is the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. If you're not well in one, it's going to affect the other three. I have no way to prove it, but that's what I truly believe. So there's certain factors to think about. Number one, how are you prepared to retire? Okay. Um, were there things that you had neglected that you finally got a chance to complete? Uh, Obviously, if you want to continue working, by all means, do so. But I will say this: consider retiring once you're at that stage in your life that you're able to step away from the work world without thinking twice. Once you get to that stage, then that is the time to consider retirement. And then, of course, there are those that want to retire quietly. There are those that want to retire anonymously. And then, of course, there are those who want to have a retirement party. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Um, as I stated, this is the decision that only you can make. Don't let other people try to dictate to you when you should retire or coerce you into retire or to continue working. Now, I have known people who retired because their health has deteriorated to a serious degree. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm in reasonably good health, uh, despite the fact that I walk with an ache of cane. I mean, I've lost close to 70 pounds. So, and I want to lose at least another 20. I mean, I'm never going to be as thin as a rail, but of course, every pound I lose makes it easier on my knees. So, now there are those who will try to get medical procedures done before retirement, and then there are those that will do it after retire. That's something that that you need to discuss with your primary care physician. Okay. Um, but again, you're the one that has to decide. Okay. Do not let others decide for you. Do not let others control you to retire if you don't wish to retire. Or for that matter, don't let others control you to work if you really want to retire. So, in other words, you and then you alone decide when is a good time to retire. Okay, because you're the one that's going to have to live with the consequences of that decision. I'm just going to step away for a moment. Okay, I'm back. Just wanted to get some lemonade. But and believe me, I have people all the time that tell me, "Oh, Negron, you should retire now. Oh, Negron, why are you still working? Oh, Negron, I mean, you gotta work until you drop dead." Okay, again, I will decide when I'll retire, and I already made a decision. Once I hit 65 years old, I will retire. Now, it's not because I hate my job. It's just that it is just time. I mean, technically, I can work until I'm 67 when I get full Social Security, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. Either way, and I want to be able to enjoy my golden years. So, what I would tell you is do not let others try to control you or shame you into retirement. If you want to keep working into your late 60s or 70s and you are well aware of it, by all means do so. If you wish to retire at age 62 or age 60, and if you have the means to do so, do it. Okay? But the bottom line is you decide when to retire. No one should decide for you. And one thing I will recommend, please make sure that you take care of your health, which is your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health. Because if you take care of yourself, you're gonna have less physical physical ailments to worry about. Because one thing to bear in mind, as we get older, we become more susceptible to various health concerns. Yesterday, I went to an eye doctor, had my eyes checked. My vision's okay. However, at some point, I might need surgery if I had cataracts, but only time will tell. But it was in the last several years, I have been focused on trying to take care of my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, and my spiritual health. Because for me to be healthy, I need to be healthy in all aspects. So, with that being said, being that no one is going to join the panel and I don't see anyone making any comments, I will start to wrap this up. So, in conclusion, I will say to you, um, start thinking about how you're going to spend your retirement years um, while you're still working. Have some sort of plan, and then stick with it to the best you can. Okay. Because one thing that's very true. Those who fail to plan to fail. Okay. And please don't think about retirement uh, out of fear, but actually take into account your situation because everyone's situation is different. Now, then I will be live tomorrow night at 10 o'clock where I'll have another episode of Open Discussion. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, what I will do in open discussion, I will share my views regarding separate topics. And of course, the audience will have an opportunity to opine. Also, if you have any topics that you want me to discuss, I will do my best to comply. Now, if it's something where I do not have a great deal of knowledge, I will be transparent and say so. And to be perfectly honest, there are some topics which I prefer not to talk into because it's too controversial and also too embarrassing. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoy tonight's episode. Um, again, if you have not done so, actually consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure that you set the bell notifications to all, so therefore you'll be aware when I produce content. And of course, we have to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and lesser insanity. And of course, whatever we say and do, we should do for the glory of God. So with that being said, I thank you very much for your presence, your patience, and of course the playback gang. You're more than welcome to enter whatever comments you wish, or I ask that you keep it respectable, because disrespectful comments will be deleted. It is that simple. And with that being said, I'm going to wish all of you a wonderful good night. Take care, stay blessed, and peace.